All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm Ryan alongside Joel,
Hello, everyone.
Michigan Storm Chasers. We are going to be doing a brief overview of what to expect this evening into tomorrow morning, as well as take a peek into the long term forecast, especially for the weekend system centered around Saturday and Sunday. So let's go ahead and dive in to what we got going on. So, first and foremost, we have a winter system moving in this evening into tomorrow morning. It's going to bring some ice, some sleet, and some snow to the state. It is not going to be a major ice storm. It's not going to be a major snow system either, but it will likely impact travel here across much of the state, or at least a good chunk of it. Going hour by hour here, go and take this full, Joel. There we go. And we're going to go hour by hour here into the evening time frame. Let's go ahead and move forward here with the short-term model, the HRRR. We're going to run this through. We're going to stop it right about here at 7 p.m. tonight. We're going to notice we have the mixed precip pushing up from the south into Michigan, and also the snow starting to push in toward the UP here. As we get to 10 p.m., bring it forward to 10, right about here, we're going to start seeing that precip increase across the 94 corridor from Kalamazoo to Jackson over here, and also our first snowflakes begin to fall up here in the UP as well. Going forward to right around here at midnight tonight / Thursday morning, we're going to be looking at a decent area of freezing drizzle and freezing rain across the 94 and 96 corridors, and also that snow up here in the UP. That will continue to move eastward throughout the night tonight into tomorrow morning. It'll bring, again, freezing drizzle to a good chunk here of lower Michigan, and then snow further north for the UP and northern parts of lower Michigan. By the time we get to sunrise tomorrow morning, Thursday, this is what the radar should look like. We got some ongoing snow across the northern portions of the state, but notice how the mixed precip is out pretty much into Canada, not our problem around the sunrise period. So main time frame beginning as early as around 9 to 10 p.m. tonight. Will continue overnight. Heaviest should fall between, we're going to say, 2 and 6 a.m. this evening, and it should be working its way out of the state by sunrise, with just some snow showers continuing for the UP. Now, in terms of our forecast for the snow and ice accumulations, I just mentioned it's not going to be a major event either way. Let's go ahead and start with the snow. Our last call snow totals here, traced to an inch as far south as Mount Pleasant and the Thumb, like Port Austin, Port Hope, those areas, down toward Port Huron perhaps. Further north in the UP, 2 to 4, and then 3 to 6 inches in spots. And then further north in northern lower Michigan, 1 to 3 there toward Gaylord, Onaway, Sheboygan areas. So again, not a big deal, but again, any snow can make slick travel. That's going to be the major impact, or the main impacts for areas further north. In terms of our last forecast here for the ice accretion, we're going to go trace to about 5/100ths of an inch up to about that Mount Pleasant area, just sitting just south there to be exact. We could see a glaze of ice across much of these pink areas here. In fact, winter weather advisories were just issued a little bit further north for Muskegon County. I don't know the exact counties included, but I believe it's Kent, Muskegon, Ionia, maybe Montcalm as well. So Grand Rapids, NWS kind of keying in on perhaps a glaze of ice here further north as well. We'll see if the Detroit area matches them and kind of extends that over toward Flint and Port Huron. But overall, a good glaze tonight. And further south, especially across Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, and Branch counties, perhaps a little bit further west as well, could be getting up to about 1/10 of an inch of ice. And again, that's not going to cause major impacts in terms of power or tree damage, but it will make for slick travel and also slick surfaces. So be careful tomorrow morning heading out to work, or if you're out and about on the roads this evening, overnight, tonight especially, it's gonna get slick out there, to say the least. So nothing major is expected with ice, nothing major expected with snow. We are expecting winds, though, come Thursday afternoon, which could be pretty gusty. Our map here for the Thursday afternoon time frame after the snow moves out. Well, most of the snow actually. It's going to be gusting up to 55 miles per hour in the pink zones there for localized areas. But for the majority of us, 45-mile-per-hour gusts are going to be quite common across the state Thursday afternoon. The good news, though, like I said, the ice shouldn't be too heavy, so this shouldn't cause power outages with the ice impacts, but it could cause blizzard-like conditions up in the UP where winter storm watches are actually in effect for the far western counties like Ontonagon and Houghton areas. So we could get some blizzard-like conditions up in the UP with these winds and the kind of mixing with snow showers. But that's about all we're expecting in terms of the wind. We could have isolated power outages due to the wind because 45, 50 miles per hour is enough to cause some isolated outages. But overall impacts with ice and snow plus power outages, not going to mix there. So it's going to be purely a wind-driven event in terms of any outages that do occur. So that is the overview for the system tonight. We are tracking a system for Saturday, perhaps of more significance in terms of snowfall. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we have the model here short term. We're going to flip over here to the European longer term model. The Europeans are we call it the gold standard really of winter forecasting here. So we'll go ahead and move this into, give me a second here to pull it up properly. Let me see if I can get this up. I don't have it pulled up for some reason. If I can get it here real quick. There we go. And we're going to zoom out to a Ohio Valley look so you guys can get a good idea of what's happening around us. There we go. Now we're ready to rock and roll. All right, here is the system moving through for tonight. Again, we're going to see snow further north, a mix further south. It's going to exit off. Attention turns to the west. We're going to have two pieces of energy are going to phase together here. One up top here in the Minnesota area and one down here toward the Ohio River Valley. They're going to meet together somewhere in the vicinity of Michigan here. It's going to cause snow, rain, and ice once again here for Saturday afternoon and evening into your early Sunday morning. Notice how the darker blues are showing up here across a good chunk of Michigan. That is your heavier snow potential for parts of Michigan. And yes, you are seeing this correctly. It does include, at this time at least, parts of southeast Michigan. So we could be getting our first synoptic snowfall, our first system that could dump a good chunk of snow across a good chunk of Michigan. But also notice here further south along the 94 corridor, we are once again looking at a potential area of mixing freezing rain, sleet, rain, perhaps even a possibility there for points further southward. In terms of snow accumulation, what we're kind of thinking, it is still a little bit too far out to get specific, but overall consensus between models here, go ahead and flip over to the GFS. I think GFS is more realistic at this current time. I will show you guys the snow totals on the models here. Again, not a forecast, just a general idea of what it's saying. Back it up here. Again, this is going to be the first system moving through tonight. We're going to see a good, 2 to 5 plus inches there for northern Michigan. Now, as we move into Saturday afternoon, we're going to notice here comes that second system off to the left of the screen. Here it comes. And by the time we get into Saturday evening, we're seeing a good chunk of Michigan getting anywhere from 3 inches to 6 or 7, perhaps isolated higher there. So we could be looking at a good, we're going to say, thumping of snow for a good chunk of the state come Saturday afternoon into Sunday morning. We're going to keep an eye on that. As far as our forecast with that goes, we do have a general idea of where the heaviest snow, light snow, moderate snow, and where some freezing could occur. This is our current thinking based on the models. And again, this could shift north, could shift south. It's just a general idea. We're 3 or 4 days out from this, so nothing locked in just yet. But do keep in mind the Saturday system does look more in the way of a stronger system, more impactful perhaps as well. So overall, we're going to keep an eye on that. Nothing, to sound the alarm on just yet, but just keep that in mind. A winter system is likely for your weekend as well, in addition to what's coming this evening into tomorrow morning. With that being said, that is all I have to share with you guys. So I'll pop in. I see some members here. Joel, you want to read those off?
Yeah, we got 2 new members, or I guess coming back for another month here. We have Karen L. and we have Alley Cat. Back for 2 months, back for a second month and a 9th month, saying hello, everyone, and hey, all. Thank you guys so much for coming back for another month here at Michigan Storm Chasers on YouTube.
Yep. Thank you guys very much. As far as the advisories go, here is the current map of the alerts out there. Again, I can't zoom in too far. We'll have our own alert map posted a little bit later on this evening. Up here in the UP, that's your winter storm watch. It's not really for snow, but for the snow plus wind impacts. Blizzard-like conditions are possible up there. Further south here from the Grand Rapids Metro, Muskegon County, all the way down here toward Detroit Metro, that is your winter weather advisory for the expected ice impacts tonight. So slick travel is going to be the main concern with that. Again, not really focused on power outages or tree damage. It's not going to be an ice storm by any means, but it will cause impactful travel here for the 94 and 96 corridors, anywhere in between those areas. So I would expect Detroit NWS to perhaps issue some more advisories this afternoon for like Flint, Port Huron areas. Not a guarantee, but if they're going to match what Grand Rapids does, they'll likely extend those over to the east. So if that happens, we'll let you guys know. But as of right now, that is your current alert map as of 12 p.m., which is your current time here on Wednesday afternoon. What is the timeline of snow sleet on Saturday into Wayne County? Caroline asks. So the overall time frame is not too specific just yet. We're likely going to look at precipitation starting around that noon Saturday time frame. It'll work its way across the state. So if I had to guess for Wayne County at this point, probably mid-afternoon for you. And again, that's subject to change. We're still locking in details. So come back. We're going to say probably tomorrow or Friday for a specific forecast for that. How is Thursday looking? Flying out of Grand Rapids. Brady, it's not going to be a huge impactful event. I would expect there to be flights out of Grand Rapids on Thursday, but the morning time frame will could get slick on the road. So there may be a few delays out there, but nothing too major, I wouldn't expect. Just joined. When does the system start tonight? System's going to start tonight around 10 p.m. in the western part of the UP and southwest part of Michigan. And it'll continue to move its way east across the state. I don't have the timing graphic pulled in here. Let me see if I can't grab it real quick.
Again, just a reminder while Ryan's pulling this up here, a glaze of ice is still impactful. So don't be deceived by just that tiny little layer out there. It will cause some travel impacts, and that is why you see that winter weather advisory, not for the totals, but just impacts in general. So Muskegon County, Ottawa County, Kent, Ionia, and Clinton, as well as Allegan, Barrie, Eaton, and Ingham County were all just recently added to a winter weather advisory there, as well as obviously the bottom two rows of counties in Michigan already issued earlier this morning. So again, as Ryan mentioned, winter weather advisory is probably coming for the I-69 corridor here later this afternoon, probably over the 3 or 4 o'clock package. And of course, we'll get a updated map out here after the briefing is done.
So in terms of the arrival timing of first precip tonight, here is our map. We did not update it from yesterday. It still looks pretty good. So white areas further south there, like Niles, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, 9 to 11 p.m. is your arrival time for mixed precip. Further north will be snow, obviously. So 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. there for the UP. And then for South Central Michigan there, 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. or goodness gracious, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Further south there. And then 1 to 4 a.m. in green, and then 4 a.m. or later in blue. I see some comments rolling in here asking about school closings. So I'm not really sure perhaps on school closings. We could have isolated with that 10th. If any places can get like really, really slick, I would definitely assume there could be some school closings Thursday morning. Widespread though, I don't know about that.
And given that it's supposed to warm up slightly as the day goes on, and plus we have a lot of that dry air mixing in already as it stands, I would say at the very least we could see a lot of like 2-hour delays tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. And a lot of schools will probably opt for that, especially seeing that later in the day it will get better. However, that wind will still be coming into play as the afternoon goes on tomorrow, which again will dry things up, but it'll cause more havoc for your trash cans, I guess you could say, tomorrow afternoon.
Could Saturday's system be more impactful than tonight's system? The answer is yes in terms of snowfall. We're seeing signals for a much heavier snowfall on Saturday, but for ice or sleet, that's still uncertain at this time.
A lot of comments rolling in here that a new winter weather advisory probably just got posted from DTX.
Yes, actually. We have expands area to include Genesee, Lapeer, Livingston, Macomb, Oakland, Shiawassee, and St. Clair counties. So yeah, basically the 96 corridor there, just like we mentioned.
Just like I mentioned.
So this map's not going to update for another few minutes, but essentially just imagine a line drawn over to here in purple. So all those counties from 96 on south, you're in an advisory now. And that's, again, going to be for travel impacts Thursday morning with a glaze of ice expected.
It's almost like I have the inside scoop.
So basically, I see a lot of questions asking like specific areas across South Michigan for this system. It doesn't really matter where you're at in the purple zones. If you, I was going to say, if you live south of Grand Rapids, south of Ithaca, south of Flint, south of Port Huron, you're going to get a glaze of ice tonight. That's the expectation. And a glaze of ice can be impactful, will be impactful, in fact, to travel and surfaces. So it's going to be slick regardless. No one area in Michigan is going to have an ice storm. So it's more so just a blanketed sheet of ice that we're expecting. So if you're asking specific locations, it's going to be the same across the board in South Michigan. It's going to be a glaze of ice for you. What totals are you looking at on Saturday? I see one where we're getting 7 inches in Southeast Michigan. Ryan, that is a good question. And right now it's about a day too early for our first initial call on snowfall totals. But I will say models are trending 4, 5, 6+ inches. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. We could have a decent. I keep using the term thumping because this is our first good system. It looks like it could be impactful here in terms of snowfall. So moderate snow is expected. We'll leave it at that.
A lot of comments in here saying thank you. No problem, everybody.
We love doing this. Absolutely love it.
Again, timing for worst travel impacts for overnight is going to be between, it has to take a little bit to accumulate. So I would say between that midnight time frame and about 10 to 12 p.m. in the morning. So basically your entire morning slot for the next 12 hours tonight will be most impactful. But once you get into the afternoon, evening rush, you guys should be drying up out there. And that would be for Thursday. You have any preparation tip graphics queued, Ryan?
So even though we don't have an ice storm incoming, some of these, excuse me, some of these tips can apply to you. Man, got a lot of fun going on this morning. Apologize. Goodness great. Joel, can you get this?
Yeah, I got you. So obviously, again, ice storm preparation. We're not expecting any ice storm with this event. Again, Saturday still TBD on ice totals there. But again, you can definitely have some power outages. Again, we're going to have some wind mixing in. So I think, if anything, we're going to have power outages from wind with this event coming Thursday evening. With any winter weather, obviously you want to make sure you always have first aid essentials in your car. And if it is slick out there, like where the glaze we're supposed to have tomorrow, make sure you have some sort of like rocky material in your car, such as litter or sand. That could help you obviously get out of sticky situations, as well as bring a shovel too, in case you do get into like a snowbank. Obviously, there's not much snow out there for some places, but again, a shovel does help. Again, watch out for falling branches. With any ice accretion, again, ice totals are going to be rather low with this event, but again, that's just one of the threats that you could have. Obviously, monitor us here at MSC or the National Weather Service for conditions. And as always, avoid those higher elevated surfaces such as stairs. Again, those can and will accrete faster, especially if they're colder out there. And of course, as always, avoid unnecessary travel. So it's kind of the rundown again with any ice out there, what to expect. But again, not really anything in terms of an ice storm for this event, at least overnight tonight.
And pulling up our ice map one more time here for those of you just tuning in. So for ice impacts to be an issue or a concern for power outages and tree damage, we look to about 1/4 inch or 0.25. That's the amount or higher. That's when we get these really good ice storms to really start being impactful to our power grids and stuff like that. This one is not looking like it's going to come close to that. The highest we're going to see is probably about 1/10 of an inch, maybe sneaking above that in some spots, but it's not going to come close to ice storm criteria. And also, for those wondering about ice storm warnings and watches, the criteria for that is also 1/4 inch. So not expected with the storm, but still any ice can be impactful, especially to travel.
Yep. Again, that's why that winter weather advisory has been issued out there.
Let me refresh it real quick. There we go. There is your updated map. I can't zoom in any further than that. I guess I can. So basically, the counties along the 90. I don't know if you heard that or not, but
I heard that.
My phone just went flying. The counties along 96 and 69 in central Michigan there are under the advisory and point southward. So that is the expectation of slick travel. I also have the trash can window meter for those who are interested in that. Go ahead and pop it up on your screen here. That is for Thursday afternoon. We're going with level 4 out of 5, the scavenger hunt, with wind gusts up to 50 or 55 in spots. Their trash cans may go flying past Emily's yard into the street and probably down the road a ways. So overall, just go ahead and secure your trash cans, any loose objects you may have in your yards. That would be a good idea to secure with these winds incoming across much of the state. But localized areas definitely could see some more higher impacts to your trash cans than other parts of the state. And for as far as the wind gust goes, here's the map for those of you just tuning in. Purple areas across all the state, up to 45 mile per hour in terms of gusts. And then pink areas up in the thumb, northwest lower Michigan there, and also parts of the UP could get gusts up to about 55. So that's the expectation Thursday afternoon with terms of wind.
That wind timing will be anytime pretty much after afternoon. It's going to gradually increase throughout the day. And again, that's not your sustained winds. That's just your gusts too. Sustained winds will probably be about half that. So for many areas, it'll be around 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained. And then obviously gusting to higher, as mentioned on the graphic. Those winds will be generally out of, I think, the west. I can double check that real quick while you're reading that off.
Yep. And Red Dozer with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Red, for that donation. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Red.
I see a couple questions in here for Port Huron area. Port Huron is now under winter weather advisory with a glaze of ice expected. So slick travel is your expectation for freezing rain and sleet, perhaps some snow showers mixing in if you're lucky. But mixed precip overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So yes, slick travel is expected. No ice storm for anywhere in Michigan though. So
yeah, it looks like the winds are generally going to be out of the west for tomorrow.
I also see a question in here for the temperatures. So we did expect temperatures to rise Thursday afternoon here. I'll go ahead and pull up a map and kind of go through the temperatures. We zoom into Michigan. All right, there we go. Here you're, goodness gracious, Ryan. There we go. All right, temperatures into tomorrow morning. Here is sunrise. We're seeing a little bit cooler solution on the models here, mid to upper 20s here. As we move into the morning hours on Thursday, those do rise, but they do struggle to rise above freezing. They'll be at or just above freezing for much of the state here. So those ice impacts may not melt as quickly as we originally thought, but they still should be less impactful the later we get into Thursday. But overall, temperatures across the state for Thursday, right around freezing. Unless you're further north in the UP, then you're going to be a little bit cooler, just because further north is typically cooler. Do you think schools will close in Oakland County? It's going to really depend on how slick those roads are tomorrow morning. I do think there's potential for school closings. I wouldn't say widespread potential, but I do think there's potential at very least. Will it be negative 40 in a couple weeks? Unlikely, Penny. Unlikely. We are seeing a cool down in terms of how cold and how long is still unsure, but cool down for the late month is coming. And also, just for those of you still tuned in here, we are tracking a very active pattern here in the long-term models. I'll go ahead and just run a loop of what the models are showing. So don't take any of this at verbatim, or don't take any of this for like a forecast, but just kind of goes to show you what's coming for Michigan here. Let me zoom out so you guys can get a better picture. Go ahead and animate this back at 000, and there we go. Let's go ahead and hit play. I'll kind of walk you guys through. Here's our first system today. Wait a few days. Here's our system for the weekend. Wait a few days. A second system develops off to our south, could bring some snow to parts of the state. There's a second system, third system, fourth system, fifth system, sixth system, 7. Like there is just so many systems on the horizon here that may actually be impactful for us here in Michigan. Obviously, this is a long-term model. We're not getting specific, but just overall, the active pattern here we're going to be in for the next 10 to 15 days. It's just system after system. So we're going to watch that very carefully over the next several days and continue to bring you guys updates here on YouTube and also Facebook. So if you're a snow lover, I don't think winter is over just yet. So What time does this all start tonight around Port Huron? So timing graphic here for Port Huron puts you in the 1 to 4 a.m. time frame for your earliest arrival of precipitation. That is for tonight. So just after midnight would be the first possibility for you. What do you mean by active? Active is just overall active. A continuous pattern of storm system after storm system moving in or at least close to Michigan. Not every system is going to hit Michigan, but the jet stream is amplified, which means a lot of systems are coming through over the next 15 days. Specifics on exactly where, how much, what impacts, we're not going to know that until we get a lot closer to these events, but the idea that we're going to have a lot to deal with is growing. I would rather have a ton of snow instead of these icy days. I agree, Allie. I really agree with that. Ice is just a nuisance. Doesn't matter if it's a glaze or a quarter inch, obviously a quarter inch or higher, power outages, stuff like that. But ice is just nuisance.
I'd say winter storm watches are not out of the question for this weekend. Again, winter storm watches don't necessarily mean a winter storm warning is going to be issued. It's just kind of a precursor. Once a winter storm watch is issued, though, it's likely that it'll be one of the two. It's not like it's going to completely downgrade to nothing. So if you do get issued under a winter storm watch, expect at least one of the two to be issued after that. And again, winter storm warning would be like probably over a half a foot of snow, I would have to imagine, especially this time of the year. And it also has to do with duration too, so keep that in mind. Usually sometimes we see like long-term lake effect events that don't get winter storm warnings, and that's because it lasts like 4 days of continuous snow, but it's just gradual throughout that time. Whereas with this system, it'll be, quick hitting, and we'll likely get, perhaps some warnings out of it. But again, time will tell.
I would rather have sunshine and 70 degrees, says Morgan. Morgan is one of our chaser partners here in chat. So welcome, Morgan, to the chat. I agree, too. I cannot wait for warmer weather. Sunshine 70. Bring it on. Bring it on. Do you think we'll get the advisory in Kingston? I'm going to say at this time, no. I think any further updates would occur tonight at or not tonight, but this afternoon, like 4 o'clock or so. But overall, I don't really think they're going to expand it further north. I think they're good. They're good. They're well placed right now. How much snow for Saturday, Sunday for Ann Arbor? Too early to call, especially further south. If you're close to the Indiana-Ohio border, there's a lot more uncertainty with the weekend system, just because any shifts, like for example, I'll just go ahead and dive into things a little bit deeper here. So with this system that we're tracking for tonight, the freezing rain shield started up in like Gaylord, Mackinac areas, right? And it had a wide area of freezing rain. And now that we're a day before the event, it's really narrowed down. It also shifted about 200 miles to the south. So this system for the weekend could very well shift still. So the area of impact does appear to be across much of Michigan, but any shifting it's going to really depend on how this system plays out. Let me go ahead and give you an example here. Let's go ahead and stop it right here. So you see this system right here. This is the weekend system. So you see all this snow further north here, but also realize further south, we're in a mix here. So if this system shifts 50 miles or 100 miles to the north, that means this freezing rain corridor shifts up toward Grand Rapids, Ithaca, Flint, Port Huron. If this shifts south, that means the entire state's going to be in snow. And it also means that areas in pink would also shift into the heavier snow zone. So we're going to watch the system very closely, is all I'm going to say. If you're further south, that's the zone of uncertainty. Further north here, I think you're a pretty good guarantee you're going to get snow, unless it shifts really far south. But if you're in this mix area, that's the highest uncertainty at this point. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question for Ann Arbor or anywhere in that mix zone for right now. Travel impacts on Friday, unlikely. Friday looks like a pretty dry day across Michigan. So no impacts expected on Friday.
besides perhaps a little bit of lake effect in the UP. I remember writing about it earlier this week on my forecast discussion. So
how does it look driving from mid-Michigan to Traverse City tomorrow morning? Probably slick, but further north, there could be a lot of dry air mixing in. So you may be decent up there. I would expect some snow at very least. But in terms of sleet, freezing rain, you should be okay for the most part. $12Z Euro now loading in. Yep, we have a few more model runs here. I think by tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Thursday. We should have our either a decent idea of snow amounts and locations tomorrow afternoon. I really think perhaps Thursday night might be the time to do that, though. So Friday morning, we'll have a full forecast for you guys at very latest. Trying to think when the system is going to move on to sample, because that means better data. I'll have to take a look at it later.
Yeah.
We'll have a traffic map up here later today. We're about to post all the maps that we just showed you guys here at the start of the stream. We're going to post those here when we're done with our final forecast. And then also expect an alert map from us with advisories and the watches on it. And then also expect a traffic forecast from us for the system as well.
It'll be a busy day of posts once again here on Facebook. So if you haven't followed us on Facebook, again, you just search up Michigan Storm Chasers. We have 284,000, I think, now on Facebook. So if it doesn't have that many followers and it doesn't have the verified badge, it's somebody else. So keep that in mind.
All right, I think we're going to pop out of here. But before we do, I would like to go over a brief recap of what to expect hour by hour and then our forecast. And we're going to pop out of here because we got a lot of work to do. So let's go ahead and finish up this stream. So starting with the model hour by hour here, let's go ahead and move this through. So starting right now, move this into, I need to go back a model run. Give me a second. There we go. Starting right about here, 5 p.m. or so. Here's 6 p.m. tonight, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 p.m. Our first flakes are starting to fall in the UP, and our first raindrops, aka freezing rain, is falling in Southwest Michigan. Let's go ahead and zoom this forward here. Let's go midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8, 9, and then there's 10 a.m. And by the time we get toward noon tomorrow, that snow is moving out of the state. Okay. That is your hour by hour. What are we expecting? Well, first we have winter weather advisories and also a few counties up in the UP, winter storm watches are in effect up there. That is expected for up here at least, 3 to 6 inches of snow, and then also blizzard-like conditions with winds picking up Thursday afternoon. Further south here in the winter weather advisory across much of south central lower Michigan, slick travel is expected. Anywhere from 0.05 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch of ice is expected. So think about a glaze there. No matter where you're at, though, in the advisory, it's going to be slick. It is not going to be an ice storm by any means. We need a 1/4 inch or higher for that. Our ice totals here put most of the advisory area up to about 0.05 of an inch. Exception further south, Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Branch counties, perhaps surrounding areas as well, up to about 1/10 of an inch is possible there. In terms of snowfall for this system, again, 3 to 6 inches is all we're going to go with at the high end for the UP, or at least should I say portions of the UP. 2 to 4 is around those areas, and then 1 to 3 for much else, or for other places in the UP, and then for northern lower as well. Further south, trace to an inch down to about the thumb, Mount Pleasant areas. Then further south, no accumulation is expected. Arrival timing, 9 to 11 p.m. in white areas, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. tonight in yellow, 1 to 4 a.m. in green, 4 a.m. or later in blue. And then in terms of our wind gusts, we will pick up winds Thursday afternoon. Gusts up to 55 miles per hour in pink zones. Elsewhere, for the majority of the state, 45 miles per hour. And And then further south toward the border, we could have a little bit lesser in the way of gusts there, up to 35 for Southern Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Cass, and Berrien counties. System is moving in as well for the weekend. We're going to keep track of that. This is what it looks like currently in terms of the model. Moderate snowfall across lower Michigan, light snow further north, perhaps a mix for the 94 corridor. We're going to keep you guys updated on this. We're going to say perhaps late tomorrow afternoon or evening, we may have a first call map in terms of totals out. No guarantees on that. We'll have to keep an eye on things, but very latest Friday morning, we'll have a forecast out for you guys for this system. With that being said, I believe we're going to pop out of here. Well, let's look at the comments. Again, not an ice storm tonight, but will be slick for your Thursday morning commute. We'll have all of our forecast maps I just showed you posted on our Facebook page in the coming hours, as well as an alert map, as well as a traffic forecast. So stay tuned to the page. We got you covered. Busy day here, but we're here for it. With that being said, we're going to shout out our sponsors here, starting with Lifestyle Exteriors, 989-854-3055. Exterior home work, Traverse City, Lansing areas. They got you covered. Got StormGuard roofing and construction based out of Macomb, Oakland counties, as well as Detroit metro areas. 248-985-3239. Once again, exterior roofing and construction for your homes. They got you covered. We got Pro Powder for powder coating needs in the South Haven area. 269-637-8722. And last but not least, we have one more. We got Cats Roofing and Siding. 517-485-9886 is your number to call. And again, exterior needs on your homes. They got you covered. They are based out of Potterville here in Central Michigan. If you would like to become a sponsor with us here at MSC, feel free to shoot us an email or a message on Facebook. Let's talk. These sponsors are just listed. Also help keep operations rocking and rolling here at MSC. What we do is not free. We have a lot of platform costs to utilize stuff like our model software, our streaming software, gas costs. These sponsors are a huge help, and that's why we shout these out. I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear it, but they are a huge role in they're a huge factor in the role we play here in YouTube and Facebook stream world. With that being said, we're going to pop out of here. All right, Joel, have anything else you want to say?
Nope. Other than just stay safe out there traveling. Again, and avoid any unnecessary travel between tonight and tomorrow morning. Again, school closing wise, I think there's just going to be a lot of delays out there tomorrow. Maybe closings, but we'll see otherwise. Other than that, make sure to go like the stream, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, all the other platforms. We're around on all of them.
All right. With that being said, we will catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned to the page for updates.